Hi guys, I was just out here with Squirrel and thought I should jump on here and actually show you a few things that I often see in riding horses, but it can be any horse that's had an injury or become unsound, and the common sights that I see on that horse that would indicate to me that they need a treatment, and the sort of things that we focus on in our massage treatment to help them feel a little bit better. So this is Squirrel. She's going to help me today show you the points on the body where I often see pain in horses that are doing some hard work, or they're injured, or they just need a little bit of TLC. So let's get started. Okay, so this is Squirrel. So when I do my first treatment on horses, I do a visual assessment, which includes a gait analysis. So I'll watch them walk up and back. Can't do all that for you today, but for now I'll just show you a few things. So when we're looking at the horse, we want to see, first of all, are they standing square? Squirrel almost is. Front legs are, back legs aren't. We want to see, are they standing square? It's a little bit better, but you can see that one leg's a little bit in front of the other. This can be initially a sign that they do have a bit of discomfort in the leg. Another sign of discomfort that we can often see is that the horse is standing uneven, which Squirrel now is in the front, and also when they're shifting their weight or they're resting the hind leg is another common thing that we see in a horse that's pretty uncomfortable. And visually we're looking for signs of lack of balance or muscle wastage. You can see on Squirrel she's got a little bit of it just in that bum here. The gluteal muscle isn't very developed. So that would be another sign that we're looking at, that maybe she needs a bit of help in her glute muscles. And also the hamstring's a little bit wasted as well. I'll see if we can get a bit more sunlight here. So again, she's standing with her one butt higher than the other. Fun fact, sometimes when generally the horse's side that they stand with the butt higher than the other is actually the sore side, which I know with Squirrel it does tend to be that hind leg. Having a look from this side, top line for Squirrel looks okay, but you can see there could be a bit more muscling along here, and just this little wither pocket here as well is a bit atrophied as well. You can see in terms of balance, her hindquarters are definitely not as muscled as the front end. So the sort of work and the massage work we do, we're trying to get that butt to be a bit stronger, because the strong bum helps support the back. So in terms of when I'm actually palpating the horse, I'll show you now the most common sites of pain and discomfort where you'll get a reaction when you touch the horse and when you massage them. So the first one most commonly is the pole. So this muscle here. So when you touch in here, lowering the head, and you'll often see signs that it's got some damage because the skin and the hair is often drier and duller than the rest of the coat. Hers actually is looking okay, but you can see that the top part here is quite dry, just the very top there. Another often common sign that we see that the horse is having some troubles, especially in terms of their rhythm work, is this muscle here. Just draw like a little triangle there. So this is a Serratus muscle, and it's a really important stabilizing muscle. And you'll often see on horses that are having trouble with their rhythm work, this really pops out. The Squirrel's got a little bit of hypertrophy, we call it here, inflammation there. So that's a sign that that's not that's doing a bit too much work compared to the actual top line muscles. Another sign that we see in horses that are having a bit of trouble is that this muscle here, which is a sternomandibular muscle, will often be really tense and like hard like a rock. On Squirrel it's quite relaxed, so it's a good sign. It should be soft when they're not using that muscle. Another sign that we see, and I know Squirrel used to suffer from a lot, is the top line wastage. Hers is looking pretty good at the moment, but you'll often see this muscle is wasted and very firm like a rope, like you can feel the ligament really tightly along there. It should just be soft and pliable. So just see how that skin just moves like that. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be rigid. It should be a strong muscle, not something held in tension. If a horse is having trouble with flexion, often this brachiocephalic muscle will be quite tight and tense. Some people say to me, oh, I can feel lumps in there. That's actually the vertebrae of the spine of the neck. But if you can feel them quite easily, or they're really sticking out, that actually means that neck muscle is wasted. So it's a good one to know, and I often find the first massage I do on horses, they're quite sensitive in that area, and they often really won't like being touched on that brachiocephalic muscle. Another sign we see often in horses that are having trouble is that they've got their pectoral muscles are quite wasted away. You can see Squirrel's are not. she's got breasts, so to speak. But you're looking for, are they symmetrical? You can see she's got one a little bit bigger than the other. And are they well developed? So hers are quite well developed. But on a horse that's not well developed, this will actually be sunken in, and they literally look like they have no chest. When you're looking at them from the side, they will look like they don't have the sticky outy bit. It'll be like a straight line. The pectoral muscle runs underneath from that front bit, underneath back to here. And so often you'll find that bit too is really tense and wasted away. On Squirrel it's not, but it has been in the past. You'll see it's like a really visible indent on the horses where it's wasted away. And they're very sensitive, very girthy. And that muscle really isn't functioning effectively. The deltoid muscle that runs down here can also be affected. And you'll see that really be quite sensitive on the horses that are having trouble. Another one that we see very commonly in horses that are having issues is that their brachial triceps are quite inflamed and tense just in here, and you'll often feel knots in there, and it will actually be like this balloon popped out, and that's because they're not able to use their back effectively, and so they're really overloading their arm muscles to try and get around, and they're often very heavy on the forehand. Related to that, you'll often see in a horse that's struggling is that their elbow actually comes out like this, and it's poor posture. It comes out like a chicken wing, and that's again a sign that their body's not working as it should. It's bad posture. We did the serratus muscle here. We also have another serratus muscle that pops out here. It's the same, it just comes underneath. And this muscle is commonly very inflamed in a horse that's having trouble and maybe has a sore back. It pops out here like a balloon, and it's often very hypertrophied, and the horse really struggles with being touched there. Squirrels in the past had a lot of trouble with this area as their back's been sore. It's getting much better, but you can still see it is quite strong through there. So we'd eventually like to see that ease off a little bit and have her back look a bit stronger rather than that muscle. We've got the cervical trapezius muscle, so it goes like that. Cervical meaning the neck, and then we've got the thoracic trapezius meaning the back. So that muscle as well is very, very common to see atrophied, and you'll actually often see in a horse that has quite a bit of atrophy in that area. You'll see this like little wiggly line come here like this, and that's actually because that muscle is so wasted away that it's actually showing the underlying structures, because the muscle is wasted away and it's a very thin muscle. So once it's damaged, it quite easily gets wasted away, and it's actually quite difficult to build back up. So in Squirrel, because of her saddle fit damage that I've told you about in the past, and also just generally needing to do a bit more cross training with her, that this became very just dead and dry, and it was scarred up because of the saddle. So it had big scars here, and it was very wasted away. So on her, that's improved a lot. On a horse that hasn't had saddle damage though, you would see even more so that it comes up more like this, and it more covers the whole wither, and you don't see this sort of dry hair that she's got here. So it's been a long journey for her, but she's much better than she was, but we could still improve. So then you've got the back muscles. So they're the longissimus dorsi and latissimus dorsi muscle. So coming up like this and like that. So then again, you know, in a horse that has a really sound back, you'd want to see this raised a bit more. Squirrels looks good for her, but you can still see it's not quite really that strong, as strong as it should be yet. You can see when I run my hand along it that it's not a very even flow there. It's still got a bit of tension. And she's turning around to tell me that, yeah, it's not ideal. So horses that are having trouble, that will be wasted away, tense. You can often feel knots in it. Sometimes there'll actually be, you'll see shimmers along here, and that's actually the muscle spasming. So you can visually see that and feel that. Horses that are having trouble with their back or generally in pain are often also sensitive through the ribs. So let's see if we can, yes, we can feel the ribs, Squirrel. The ribs here will often be very sensitive, and they'll move away when you touch them on the ribs because they're often overloading their muscles there. Some horses, they may not be that sensitive, but I see a lot of tension here through the loin muscle in horses, especially horses that have had some issues with their diet in the past. So they often get very tight through here, and that's a really important nerval pathway to get to the hind end. So horses that often have issues through their loin then also have associated wastage in their back end. So it's a really important one to look at, and you'll often see a horse where it looks okay all the way to here, and then it gets really rough here. And so you can see she has that issue too. Squirrels had string halt in the past, which I often see associated with these issues, where the coat's a lot drier than the rest. So she needs a good bodywork session, which she's going to get today. Now we're looking at the gluteals, which I said in squirrel aren't ideal. So they're, see how it's not like a circle, it's sort of like a slope down. Part of that's conformation being Clydesdale cross. They tend to have a bit of a goose rump, which is like when it goes like that. But still, for posture and for good back health, you want a strong bum, as strong a bum as that horse can get. And you can see squirrel needs some work there. So when we're looking at the actual gluteal muscle, you can see on her that it sort of flattens out like this. It should be a bit more of an apple bum. She likes that. See, it sort of flattens out like that, and the coat's not that great over there as well. It's a good starting point, but it's not ideal. So we want to work through those muscles quite strongly to help to reactivate them and to get them working again. So you can see even the coat is a different, duller than it is on her neck. It's a sign the circulation's not happening there. Another sign, especially in our older horses, is that they have issues through their stifle. So you can see squirrel's stifle here is a bit inflamed. See that it's sort of a bit cushioned, and we know that she has some issues with her stifles as she's gotten older. And then associated with that, they'll often be quite tied up through their hips, and they might react to the hips being touched. So often when I'm massaging horses for the first time, they might really get offended by massaging their hips and massaging the muscles around the stifles as well, because they're holding it in so much tension. We're looking now at the hamstring muscles. So this is a really big ticket item for our tense horses and our horses with back pain, is their hamstring muscles are often quite tight. So as we come down here, those are okay. They're a little bit tight because we did jumping yesterday, but they're relatively even. Some horses won't even let you rub their hamstrings. They're that offended and that tight that they'll actually really try to move away, and maybe even try to give you a little kick because their hamstrings are that sore. So often when the hamstrings are sore, it's also associated with the lower back being sore. Again, the femoral biceps here, this muscle in here, so that can become really hypertrophied and really overloaded when the gluteal isn't working properly. So I guess the principle of the matter is you want the muscles along the top of the horse to be well developed. So these muscles along the lower part and the lower legs aren't trying to fight gravity all by themselves. Another one that I don't think I quite mentioned, on a horse that's having trouble, you'll see this muscle here, the arm muscles on both lower legs will often be really inflamed, and they'll be like a balloon coming out here. And the same with this muscle here. The lower leg muscle will often be really tense and tight, and you can't even do that. You can't even move the skin on it, it'll be like a balloon. So again, on an older horse like Squirrel, we know that she has some issues with her hock mobility now as she's gotten older. Part of that as well would be the conformation that she's got, makes them prone to some hock problems. So you'll often see swelling in there in the hocks as well. In terms of lower leg issues, so basically the muscles end there and there. So anything below the knee I will have a look at, but I'm not here to assess what's going on there because it's not muscular. So I'll often suggest to people to refer to their vet or do their research on what might be going on in ligaments and tendons below there. I've had some experience with laminitis with Squirrel, so that has helped me to see some common signs of when that can be an issue. But it's important for you to know that you how to monitor your horse for signs of things going wrong in their lower legs. Chat with your vet, your farrier, and learn how to check the vital signs in your horse as well. So I hope that's helped you guys. I'm sorry I haven't been on here for a little bit, but Squirrel was just looking way too cute for me not to get on here and talk to you about. I hope that helps you to see some of the signs when your horse might be a little bit struggling, and the things that we can help them with, and yeah, we can book them in for a treatment, get them feeling better again. And if you have a look at my blog post, Squirrel's come a long way from where she was, so I'm always really happy to see her looking this sound and happy. But there's always lots we can improve on, so it's great to have a little recap with you today and know what we're going to work on for our massage session later today. Hey, Squirrel. She says, okay.